Producing.
He really is. His first game back, he was 3 for 5. Last night he had back-to-back doubles in the first 2 at-bats, and he's hit a home run off of today's starter, Brandon Finnegan, in the past.
So Moss is at first base, and he is producing. He's healthy. This lineup producing as well. Does it carry over to Game 3? We're about to find out. Reds and Cardinals coming up. Brought to you by Bud Light Lime, by Chevrolet. Visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealer for great prices on the all-new 2016 Malibu. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. Well, the St. Louis Cardinals have been a much better road team. 32-20 this year, 25-30 at home. And because of what they've done on the road, they are in the wild card hunt. Along with Jim Hayes, Al Raboski, I'm Dan McLaughlin. It is 85 degrees, muggy here at the Great American Ballpark and the banks of the Ohio, as Mike Matheny and the Cardinals look to make it a very good road trip if they can win this game today.
And it's hard to believe if the season were to end today, the Cardinals would be the second wild card. I don't think there's anybody believes that the Cardinals have played up to their true potential yet. Hopefully that will start, win this game here, and then start winning at home on a regular basis.
The Dodgers, Miami, St. Louis, all would be in if it ended today. But a lot of games left, obviously, as Tommy Pham will lead it off in this lineup and play center field, followed by Jed Jerko. He was robbed last night of a home run by Schebler and Wright. Stephen Piscotty then did follow with a home run, his 15th this year. Matt Holliday will play left field, bat cleanup. Then Brandon Moss, we talked about him a moment ago, just how well he's played the first 2 games of this series. Johnny Peralta at shortstop, Greg Garcia, another start at second base. Alberto Rosario will get the duties behind the plate, and Mike Leake, the former Red, is on the mound and will bat ninth. Brandon Finnegan, he came over from the Kansas City Royals with John Lamb, Cody Reed, in exchange for Johnny Cueto. It's been an up and down season for Finnegan, but they really like him.
Yeah, they really think that last night's starter Reed was the best of the three. But Finnegan, remember, he went straight from college to World Series to the Big League World Series, pitching for Kansas City before that trade with Cueto.
Well, the Hyundai pitch arsenal here for Finnegan, and a real key for him is the changeup. He's been throwing it at a better clip here recently, the last 3 starts. He's got the fastball, the slider, and the changeup was his effective pitch early in the season when he was having success. He went away from that, and now he's throwing it in hitters' counts, and so he's not as predictable as he once was.
Yeah, and one of the things, too, is he throws an awful lot of fastballs. The fastballs have been up. And because it's been up, a lot of guys aren't chasing the breaking ball down, so that's why that changeup has become very important for him. He is 6-8 on the season, and he's had 3 blown saves, 10 quality starts. Little bulldog on the mound, and we'll see if the Cardinals can handle him today.
The Cardinals have had 9 different players this season bat leadoff. 6th time in team history that they've had 9 different players in that leadoff spot. 2010, 10 different players. 1998, they had 11. And Tommy Pham gets the call today. Pham on the season at .245. And it's no balls and 2 strikes.
Tommy talking about how he's trying to cut down on strikeouts, and it's work in progress. When he can get in a hot streak, he can carry this ball club. Ball just jumps off his bat.
3 for 6 in this series. 7th time this year he's batted in the leadoff spot for the Cardinals. Talked about it last night. A lot of interchangeable parts with this team. No set lineup day after day, and especially with Aledmys Diaz being out. Matt Carpenter will return tomorrow night. There's a ground ball that's pulled foul at third.
I'd like to think then you had that established leadoff man. But the days of Lou Brock and Vince Coleman, that you knew that who was going to be penciled in that leadoff spot. With all the injuries this year, it's kind of a floating spot for Mike Matheny.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Phil Cuzzi is the second base umpire, and he is in shallow center field. A lot of times you'll see that umpire on the infield, not that deep. That's Phil Cuzzi, long time major league ump. Adam Hamari calling the balls and strikes as Pham hits it left side. Suarez knocks it down. Pham hustling, and he beats it out. Infield hit for Tommy Pham, and that's how we start our ball game.
Suarez has committed 16 errors. I'm sure that'll be a base hit, but really a bad decision in throwing that ball. You got to think Tommy Pham's got speed. He's out of that leadoff spot. And once he misconnected with that ball, you put it in your pocket. Don't be trying to throw a sidearm delivery. You know he's got a strong arm, but Pham has speed and was hustling out of the box.
And they give Suarez an error on that play. I was with you. I thought that'd be a base hit.
So that's 17th error for the young third baseman.
And it brings in Jed Jerko. Modest 4-game hitting streak, 4 for his last 16. Mentioned last night he was robbed in right field by Schebler of what would have been a home run, number 16, to match his total of all last season.
I asked him today if he thought he got that one. He said, "Oh, I hit it pretty good." And of course, in this ballpark, anytime a ball goes up in the air, it's got potential to be out.
Warm day game. That's lifted in the air. Left center, and the catch is made. So Billy Hamilton puts it away. He's your center fielder for the Reds this afternoon. So last night he thought he got it, but just not enough. This would have been a home run. Schebler going back after the trade of Jay Bruce to the Mets, and he's had a fine series against the Cardinals.
Doing a Jay Bruce impersonation right there, and Cody Reed really appreciated that. These 2 starters today have combined to throw 40 home runs.
Ouch.
22 for Finnegan and 18 for Mike Leake.
Here's Stephen Piscotty. And he pops it foul and out of play.
Now you can understand giving up 22 home runs, still a high number, but pitching in your home games in this ballpark. But a very fair ballpark in St. Louis. A high total for Mike Leake is 18.
Cardinals with 4 in the first inning last night. They had scored only 3 runs in the first inning of their previous 31 games. Always important to get that lead, and you know, you give your starter a little comfort, a little cushion, and the Cardinals gave Michael Wacha that last night, and he picked up the win.
Very important. And of course, Cardinals win 5-4, but second start in a row where you only get 5 innings out of your starter.
Here's the 0-1. Let's turn to Al's Toyota keys to the game.
Well, in my mind, this is a must win. You have to beat clubs like Cincinnati, clubs that are in a rebuilding, if you're going to be a wild card. And also, you get a lot of high fastballs from Finnegan. So make sure you get on top of it and hit that line drive, but be aware of the fastball.
The 1-1. Hit out of play. Home run number 15 for Stephen Piscotty yesterday. Leads the Cardinals with 60 RBIs.
Got Holiday with 59 right behind him.
Here's a 1-2 pitch to Stephen Piscotty. Instead, a check on Tommy Pham at first base. So last night, the home run for Piscotty, a no-doubter into left center. That was right after Jerko had been robbed of his near home run. 60 RBIs, and that leads the club. And the 1-2 pitch after a long look. Little check swing. Finnegan flips out of the glove to Votto for the out. That puts Tommy Pham in scoring position and a chance here for Matt Holliday. 7 of his last 13 hits have gone for extra bases.
239 average overall, way down for Matt Holliday and his standards.
You know, there's been so much talk about the double switch, and in particular with Matt Holliday. You know, one thing you have to say is that if you're Mike Matheny, it's not like Matt Holliday is hitting 330. He's hitting 239, and they're trying to buy innings, and they've talked about it all year long, of getting him some time off if they can at different parts and times of the season. So you bank a couple innings here or there, it adds up over the course of 6 months.
And in particular when the team is at home, where he's batting sub 200. But Mike will always go with, if he's got a 1-run lead, he'll go with the defense over the potential of Holliday coming up and adding on.
So 2 outs, runner at second, and the first pitch in the dirt. The splits, they do stand out. Home games 181, road games 302. Now I'll say this, and it sounds like the ultimate homer, and I get it, but he has hit some rockets at home that have been outs, and the numbers bear that out. You can actually look at stats that show you velocity, how hard he's hitting it, and where he's hitting it, and it adds up to one of the toughest starts at home of anybody in baseball. There's a high fly ball lifted out to Billy Hamilton. He is under it, and he makes the catch. Mike Leake, the former Red, gets the call today in game number 3. He'll take to the mound when we come back. Ivan DeJesus Jr. Then Joey Votto, who is the hottest hitter in baseball. Adam Duvall. He may be the home run champ before it's all said and done. Brandon Phillips, Scott Schebler, Eugenio Suarez, Ramon Cabrera, switch hitting catcher, and Brandon Finnegan, the pitcher, batting ninth. Well, it's a matter of comfort, I'm sure, for Mike Leake. He's back on the mound that he pitched on for so many years, the former Red, and this will be start number 22 for Leake.
And you can see just 17 walks in 128 innings. He's got a streak of 30 straight innings without a walk, and that's so important in this big and little ballpark.
I love seeing that. Lack of walks with a pitcher. How many times we talk about walks at this level or errors coming back to haunt a team? Happens all the time. Hamilton puts it on the ground, and it sneaks under the glove of Peralta. Base hit. Billy Hamilton with the stolen base in the ninth inning last night. Now 15 of 17 stolen bases against Yadier Molina, and today it'll be a test for Alberto Rosario.
Mike Leake wants ground balls, but this one they had Johnny Peralta playing in the hole, and so going up the middle, he's a little bit short. And I think that's the one thing that has happened this year. I love Johnny Peralta, the real professional that he is, but his range is very limited this year.
Here's DeJesus Jr., the shortstop, and an RBI single in the sixth inning last night. Ground balls, you think double plays, and a strike from Mike Leake. So Leake is 8-8, and the Cardinals have gotten, for the most part, what they thought they'd get from Mike Leake. Record would be better, especially after the first month if some plays were made behind him, and probably more innings as well. You know, you think about the errors, and it's not just what happens on the scoreboard, but it's the stress on the pitcher. It's the pitch count. You don't stay in games longer, and that has cost Mike Leake.
And we've talked about plays not made behind guys, or double play balls where you don't get one of the runners, you know, where you should. Like last night, didn't turn a double play, but they got the batter out at first base. Those things add up.
And 3 runners thrown out at home plate, the Cardinals did. You had the misplay in right by Piscotty, ruled a triple on a ball that could have been caught. Here's an 0-1 pitch. I wonder, Al, I'm going to throw this at you, if all the interchangeable parts that the Cardinals have on their team, and it's a good thing. I mean, they're very good major league players. It's a deep bench, and it's proven that way with the pinch hitters. But has it led to not having a rhythm defensively for players? We talk about what it means in a lineup, but what about defensively too?
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Danny, because everybody would like to be at one position and stay there. And, you know, it's kind of like Carpenter coming back now. Is he going to be a third baseman? Going to be a second baseman?
Right.
You'd like even Carpenter wants to know which one and stay there.
Start the runner, avoid the double play, and Peralta tosses over to Moss for the out.
And I've been very surprised, guys like Moss and even Jerko, with their error total pretty low for guys that are bouncing around playing 3 different positions. We know, and we watch these guys before batting practice, they'll take ground balls at several different positions. Even Matt Holliday still is taking ground balls at first base just to make himself comfortable if he gets that position. Long works out at second, and then the outfield.
Joey Votto started this season hitting around 200. Through May, his average was at 213. It's now jumped up to 293, and he's hit in 17 straight. Longest hitting streak in baseball. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And of course, the Reds, it's always important to try and have protection in front and behind Joey Votto. Now with Bruce being traded, that becomes even more. And of course, you got a great batting eye, and Votto, he'll accept that walk. Duvall, with his 26 home runs, has kind of solved the guy behind him.
Here's a 1-1 pitch to Votto. He was asked about the success that he's had here recently, and I say recently, the last 6 to 8 weeks. He said something as simple as choking up on the bat. He's choking up even more than he was earlier this year. He always does it with 2 strikes, and there's the numbers the last 4 months. What a jump it's been. July at 413.
This is what we expect from him.
And the 1-2.
Best thing you can do is get ahead like Leake has, but rarely are you going to get him to chase a ball out of the strike zone. And that's where sometimes, you know, having that the non-walk streak, not walking people, it's at 30. Now sometimes you say, well, I'm going to keep on pitching around him. If I walk him, so be it. Set up the double play. But because you got that streak, you're throwing strikes.
The 2-2 pitch to Votto. On the inside corner and struck him out. Votto didn't like it. That is Adam Hamari calling the balls and strikes.
It doesn't matter if he doesn't like it. You set up inside. Ball kind of tails back to the corner, still is inside, and a guy like Joey Votto knows that strike zone so well. And a lot of times he can persuade an umpire into his way of thinking. The next at bats, but not that one. That's over.
I would say Carpenter's in that same conversation
sure.
too. So good at understanding the strike zone. That's it out of play by Duvall. 26 home runs, and with Trevor Story now missing the remainder of the season, it looks like this could be your home run champ, and he comes from out of nowhere to potentially do this.
Oh, he was a big home run hitter in the minor leagues, but you're right. He was traded to Cincinnati for Mike Leake.
That was a deal with the San Francisco Giants at the time.
Late bloomer.
Hyundai pitch arsenal for Mike Leake. Fastball, cutter, slider, change, and curve.
In my mind, that cutter gets him in a lot of trouble. You know, when it doesn't move and, it becomes a BP fastball, and I think that's the majority of his home runs have been hit off that pitch.
Here's the 0-2 to Duvall. Hamilton is running, and the pitch is lifted in the air down the right field line. Piscotty is over and out of play. I thought the pitch, Al, that has been really good for Leake the last month or so, and he's throwing it more, is his slider.
Yes, and it's bigger. It's got more depth to it. But the cutter, is just a small little, it doesn't have to move much. You're trying to hit a round baseball with a round bat. But if it doesn't move, it's lack of velocity and just kind of like a BP fastball when it's sitting there.
Hamilton dancing around at second base, and Duvall chases that pitch that we're just talking about. Gets the strikeout. Back-to-back strikeouts. Votto and Duvall. 2 in the inning for Mike Leake. Hamilton left stranded. There's the slider, a good one. No score after 1. as we wrap up the road trip and the series. Now 11 games, including today, left between these two teams this year. So you have Cincinnati, you have Pittsburgh without Francisco Liriano. That's a godsend for the Cardinals. I mean, you've got some games left where you can do some damage. It's just a matter if they can do it against those teams that are sub 500.
Well, and think about it right now. We're in a situation where you got to win this game here. Then you have to win at home against Atlanta. Then you have Cincinnati coming in here. You have to just absolutely dominate against these clubs. And then just hopefully play 500 and above against the good ones. Still got a lot of games against, Chicago.
Cardinals starting play in the Central Division, 9 games back. Pittsburgh 12 back of the Cubs. 1 ball, 1 strike on the red hot Moss, who's 5 for 9 in this series. 3 RBIs since his return from the DL.
He's 4 for 8 with a home run against Finnegan.
And he hits it out of play. Saw Moss against the lefty last night, Reed, fooled by the breaking ball, then made the adjustment in the same at bat and took it to left center. We'll see if that happens here. Swung through the breaking ball. That last pitch he gets, fouls it away, stays in the batter's box, stays alive. Tied him up on the inside corner, and a strikeout of Brandon Moss, and the first for Finnegan. Around the horn, presented by Dobbs. Duvall, Hamilton, and Schebler in the outfield. Suarez, De Jesus, Phillips, and Votto on the infield. Cabrera is behind the plate. Joey Votto, Brandon Phillips have made 1,063 starts together. It's the most on the right side of the infield in Reds history, that tandem. The most ever in baseball history, Jeff Bagwell and Craig Biggio. 1,506. Lou Gehrig, Tony Lazzari, as the shortstop Peralta lifts a fly ball into right center, and the catch made by Hamilton. Ryan Howard, Chase Utley, Mark Grace, Ryan Sandberg, and then Votto and Phillips on the all-time list.
Fun sometimes to think about those combinations, and guys play together and you almost don't even have to communicate. You just know each other so well and their mannerisms.
Brings in Greg Garcia. 1 for 5, couple of RBIs in this series. His first time up last night, came up with 2 outs and the bases loaded and singled into center field. Walker went 5 innings. Reed went 5 innings. O picked up the save. Michael Walker picked up his 7th win of the year. Game 1, only 5 innings, as Al mentioned, from Adam Wainwright. Straley went 6 for the Reds, as O had the blown save.
And recently the bullpen has been having to account for a lot of innings, the most in the National League, and that just can't happen too long.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Garcia. So he's at second base today, and the Cardinals are hopeful that it is Matt Carpenter tomorrow night in St. Louis. Or maybe third base. Or maybe first. He can play left, he can play right, probably can catch. Who knows? With these lefties back-to-back nights, Colton Wong sits.
Interesting that Colton Wong and Garcia were college teammates and double play combination, and now Greg's getting much more playing time than Colton. He's earned it, hasn't he?
He has.
You get behind the count, he'll battle and get, not to the degree of Carpenter, but still he gets a lot of pitches seen.
The 2-2. And a strikeout of Garcia. So 2 in the inning, 2 today for Brandon Finnegan. Midway through 2. No score.
rebounded and picked up the save. I was talking to Derek Lilliquist about and he was very impressed. He says the Stone Buddha nickname is accurate because, as he put it, you could put a heart monitor on him when he's pitching and it might not even register a heartbeat. He's that calm. He also expects to see O get better. Lilliquist told me that through his interpreter, Eugene Koo, O told him the hotter it gets, the better it gets. And Dan, O is durable. When he says he wants to pitch every day, he means every day.
We'll see if he gets that chance here this afternoon. Base hit by Brandon Phillips into right. You know, I was on a road trip with Jim yesterday. We drove over from St. Louis, and I'll tell you, Al, when you're on a road trip with Jim, you can solve a lot of the world's problems.
Oh, yeah. And then by the time you got here, somebody screwed it up again, right?
Yep. Always fun to be with Jim Hayes. Base hit by Phillips. Brings in Schebler. You're a former Fireman of the Year. You had great years as a closer, 13 years in the major leagues. I'm sure you can relate to what Jimmy was just talking about.
Yeah, it's no matter what happens today, before you leave the ballpark, you got to be thinking positive thoughts about tomorrow. If you don't, if you're got that lingering in your mind, and it's okay, like he's saying, no one wants to remember it to how bad it feels. There's nothing worse for a closer to come into a save situation and then walk off the field with a blown save and a walk-off loss. So that's what he's trying to say, is like, how bad I felt, I don't ever want to feel that way again. And then you're thinking positive thoughts.
Schebler at the plate. This is a time to drop down a bunt. It being right now. I mean, look at this shift put on by the Cardinals. We saw this against Adams, especially early last season. All he has to do is just poke it to the left side. It's a base hit.
And you're hitting 219, so why not try it?
Exactly. And he lines it into right field. A fair ball over to get it. Piscotty. Schebler thinking two. Throw by Steven is not in time. A double for Scott Schebler. And the Reds have something going here in the bottom of the second.
Schebler runs pretty well for as big as he is, and he's part of their compensation for Todd Frazier going to the White Sox. Hero of the Tuesday night with a walk-off home run against O, and here he just gets it over the infield, and Mike Leake finds himself in a little trouble.
Runners at second and third. Eugenio Suarez. First pitch taken for a ball. Joey Votto saying, wait a minute, that's a strike.
Suarez with 17 home runs, 1 for 3 off of Mike Leake.
Here's a 1-0. Lifted down the right field line and out of play. Cardinals defensively straight away in the outfield. First baseman Brandon Moss even with the bag. Popped up. Shallow right. Here's Piscotty. All the momentum coming forward and throws a bullet to the plate. Love watching guys throw.
It's a lost art.
You know, but he got himself, Al, in perfect position. All the momentum coming to. If you're a young fan watching, that's textbook.
Yeah, you have your momentum coming forward. You catch the ball up high, so it's an easy exchange of the bare hand and getting into throwing position.
Well, you have the 8th place hitter here, then Finnegan. Infield now drawn in. This is Ramon Cabrera, switch hitter. And Leake could get out of this jam.
You have to think you are going to get out of this jam. You got the 8th place hitter, as you said. He's a 212 hitter from the left side of the plate. Always show respect to every hitter, but you have to know that you're going to dominate the lower third in the order.
First pitch, a ball. Now the 1-0 to Cabrera is coming in at 250 with his average. Ground ball past the diving Moss. 1 run is in. Here comes another. No play for Piscotty, and Cabrera makes it 2-0 Cincinnati. Infield drawn in, and that's the risky run.
That hit particularly hard, but it was effective between Moss and the first base bag. Hits the ground ball and it finds a hole. You see how far off the line he was. A little surprising with a left-handed hitter. And then Piscotty had a little trouble with the exchange and didn't have a throw to the plate.
Here's Finnegan. Rosario has a play at second, goes there for one, on to first, safe.
Got the bunt down, but it just didn't carry far enough on the grass. So Rosario jumps on it, gets the lead runner, and make Finnegan out there on the base path for a while. He just deadens it too much. Too close to home plate, so they're able to get the lead runner and very close back at first.
I've enjoyed watching Alberto Rosario play defense.
Yes, I mean it's good to see him back there, and hopefully we'll get him enough starts that Yachty will get the rest that he will require the second half to stay healthy.
Hamilton takes a ball. Single left stranded back in the first. 2-0 Reds. Cabrera the single into right to score Phillips and Schebler. Third baseman for the Cardinals today, Jed Jerko, way in on the grass. Moss holding at first. 1 ball, 1 strike on Hamilton. We know he's got speed. No question about that. It's always been a question of whether or not he can get on base. Doesn't walk a lot, doesn't hit for average. The 1-1. Ground ball that's hit to second, and a flip to Peralta. Steps on the bag. Cincinnati grabs an early lead. After 2, it's 2-0. Sports and outdoors, right stuff, low price every day. And by your local Volkswagen dealer. A hot afternoon here in Cincinnati. Sergeant Clarence Turner, and right before the 3rd inning of every game here at the Great American Ballpark, they will put a military, whether it's current or a veteran, but a person of military background on top of the dugout to be recognized. It's a wonderful thing they do here in Cincinnati. He joined the military in the 1940s, had 18 jumps. He was a parachuter, 18 in combat, He's 90, and he still takes one jump on his birthday, even at the age of 90.
Congratulations. That's awesome. And
I love what they do here in Cincinnati. I think it's one of the best parts of their games and their presentation is recognizing those in the military.
No doubt. Fans appreciate it, and
the players too. They stop and applaud.
Those World War II vets are fortunately leaving us at a very rapid pace. Nice to recognize them as much as we can.
Rosario, Leak, and Pham for the Cardinals here in the top of the third, trailing 2-0. It was a base hit by Cabrera that scored 2. You know, one of the choices for Mike Matheny in that game 1, it's been talked about so much, whether or not you pinch hit for Seung-Hwan Oh with the bases loaded or have him go back out with a 1-run lead in the 9th inning. He had thrown 6 pitches in the 8th. One of the choices for Mike Matheny is at the plate. That was Rosario.
And he was standing at the on-deck circle trying to force the hand of Brian Price, manager of the Reds. But like I said, you know, I mean, I got a 1-run lead. I've got to put my closer in there. He had no problem.
Well, the thing is,
letting him hit for himself.
You know, Al, if you think about it, if you tell any manager you have a chance to go in 9th inning, 1-run lead before the game, all of them would say, well, I'm going to take that and I'm going to use my closer.
Use your closer. And
now, granted, that was a unique set of circumstances in game 1, but he rolled the dice. It didn't work. It happens. Ground ball hit left side, taken there by Suarez. Shows off the arm again. He's got a good one. And there's one away here in the top of the third.
And it all boils down to you can make all the right decisions, but then it's up to the execution of the pitchers or the players. And in that case, blew his first save as a closer.
Here's Mike Leake. 6 is a serious number at on the run. Will the Cardinals score 6? If they do, any size drink, just 50 cents the next day. That's coffee, fountain, frozen drinks. You've heard it before. When they score, you pour at your nearest on the run. You earned it. 6 for 35, Mike Leake. It's some good seasons here in Cincinnati at the plate.
He's got the 2nd highest batting average of any active player or active pitcher. 6 career home runs. Very good athlete. No surprise, you know, he's committed 3 errors and get a lot of ground balls back at him.
Here's a 1-1. 1-2. We talked about it before. Mike made that jump from Arizona State, was a top pick of Cincinnati, and went right into their rotation. Incredible numbers at Arizona State. The 1-2 pitch, hit out of play.
I remember talking to Dusty Baker that year we opened the season here in Cincinnati, and we did not see him in that opening series, but Dusty said, hey, you know, he was our #1 draft pick, 8th overall. Go to spring training. He was invited to spring training, and he pitched his way onto the team.
1-2 again. Leake hits it down the left field line, and it hooks foul. Home run distance, but foul.
There's a little indication of what he can do with the bat.
Speaking of Dusty Baker, I was reading an article written by Mark Pryor.
Really?
And Mark Pryor is now the former Cub. We're talking about here the highly thought of prospect for years of the Chicago Cubs. He's now working in the system for the Padres, roving instructor. And he said, one thing I want to make clear. A lot of fans look at Dusty Baker as the reason why I had injuries. He had nothing to do with it. It wasn't his fault.
Well, and Dusty always said, look, at Wood and Pryor were both hurt before I got there. I remember when Pryor was in college, San Diego State, working with Tom House.
USC,
but working with Tom House, and he talked about perfect mechanics. There's no such thing.
And that's what Mark said in this article too. He said, you know, I had been throwing this way since I was 6 years old, but what people forget, I had a collision on the field, and he said at the time I didn't think much of it, but now as I reflect, there was shoulder issues after that, and it probably was caused in that collision. Good at bat here by Mike Leake. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Dusty takes a lot of heat by letting his starters go very deep into games in an era where it just doesn't happen very often. Suarez gets Leake out number 2. And he said the best advice he got, Mark Pryor, was from Dusty Baker. He said, man, this is all about relationships. That's what baseball is about. So if you want to continue not only playing, but also beyond playing, stay in the game, you better develop relationships and try to be a good teammate. He said, I wish I was a better teammate when I was in Chicago. Very enlightening that he, you know, touched upon many subjects that are questioned by fans and media.
That's really kind of recent, last couple decades, when you always heard about, well, he's a good teammate. Or it didn't matter. You know, I mean, look at the fighting Oakland A's. 72, 73, 74 World Championship team. They would fight before a game, after the game, but they got together and played baseball in between.
0-1 pitch to Tommy Pham. Might be overrated, the clubhouse chemistry, but if you have it, it certainly is nice to have.
I think it's very important today. And it used to be all about talent. Now it's, can you get together? Can you come together as a unit and play team baseball?
There's a shot into right center field. Hamilton, who plays deep and good speed, makes the catch off the bat of Tommy Pham. We are midway through 3. It's a day game from Cincinnati. Reds on top 2-0. is 16 and older take home that fedora courtesy of the Shane Company. And tickets are available at cardinals.com/promotions. Jaime Garcia against Joel De La Cruz, who's 0-3 for the Atlanta Braves. Still good seats available for tomorrow night. A strike to Ivan De Jesus Jr. I wonder if Mike really wrestled with the idea of bringing the infield in early in this game with the kind of offense that his club has at this ballpark. That's one way to look at it. Then you say, well, you're at the bottom of the order too, and you got a chance to, you know, get out of it with Mike Leake. But it's one of those things you look at in a game. Around the horn for the Cardinals today, defensively, Holiday, Pham, Piscotty in the outfield, Jerko, Peralta, Garcia, Moss on the infield. Rosario is behind the plate. It's one of the the countless decisions that a manager has to make throughout a game.
And I think you get in trouble early in the game bringing him in a ballpark like this. That bigger breaking ball. I don't think even playing the infield in that 2-run single by Cabrera would have been caught. It was right down the first base line. But something to think about, Danny.
Especially in this ballpark. And with the Cardinals' propensity for home runs and a lot of offense. Into shallow right. There's Piscotty, and he puts it away for the out. First out here in the bottom of the third.
Mike Matheny has to think that he's going to score off of Finnegan and the Reds bullpen. So coming back from a 2-0 deficit isn't that big a deal in this ballpark.
Here is Votto, called out on strikes first time up. Takes it out of play. What's interesting about Votto's hitting streak, 17 games. That is a career high. He had an RBI single in the first inning of yesterday's game. And it's the longest streak by a Reds player since Brandon Phillips had 22 in 2007. The interesting part of this is that some guys get a streak, they get one hit. Votto is crushing the baseball. 500 his average during this streak. It's not only getting one hit, he's getting bunches.
Yeah, it's like Yachty when his 16 game, he had like 4 consecutive multi-hit games in the middle of that one.
And 8 doubles.
Yeah.
In 8 consecutive games. So 2 outs, nobody on. And Adam Duvall. Fastball taken high. One of 3 players right now in the major leagues, at least 23 doubles, 26 homers, 71 driven in. Nolan Arenado, Josh Donaldson, Edwin Encarnacion. Josh Donaldson might be the MVP again in the American League. He's having a great year.
I didn't quite understand when Oakland traded him.
Me neither. The 2-0 pitch. 3-0.
When Mike Leake was traded for Duvall, Duvall is from the Louisville area, and that's the AAA affiliate for the Reds. He said he was horrible, absolutely horrible, but he has turned it on up here this year.
Thought they might turn him loose on 3-0. You know, Leake's throwing strikes, and Duvall could do some damage. Missouri Lottery Fox Tracks. 3-1 the count. Ground ball comes back to get him. Backing up, Jerko across the diamond. They just get Duvall. Coming up for the Cardinals, it's Jerko, Piscotty, Holiday. We played 3. 2-0 Cincinnati. against San Diego, and it's carried over into the other series the Cardinals have played to start this second half. Jerko with 15 home runs. And you look at his at bats as opposed to guys that play every day. It's been great power production from Jed Jerko.
Loves hitting fastballs.
Loves hitting the first pitch too.
Yeah, and a lot of pitchers going to try and get ahead.
First time up, he flied to center. Jerko, then Stephen Piscotty and Matt Holliday. Outfield is straight away. 2-0 the count. The 2-0. Hit out of play. Finnegan is not allowed a base hit. We initially thought the first man, Tommy Pham, would be given a hit, ruled an error. And since then, he's been perfect.
He's retired 9 in a row. Tommy reached on that error by the third baseman Suarez, his 17th. It's time to make a dent in the scoreboard.
The 2-1 pitch to Jerko. Out to shallow right. And a basket catch. Schebler, one away. Got a late break on that ball.
He has pretty good speed, so he was able to come in on the ball and catch it with all of a basket catch.
You don't see that every day.
No.
So one out, and it brings in Piscotty. Bounce back to Finnegan. And a strike. Talked about his changeup first inning, and the catchers of the Reds have mentioned that it had a little cut in it, and they couldn't really count on the changeup to be a pitch he could locate. So he changed his grip with that, and so his last 3 starts have been very much like what he had beginning of the season. One of those games he took a no-hitter late against the Dodgers. 0-2 the count on Stephen Piscotty. That's hit out of play. Zal told you he made the jump. College, the draft to the major leagues, College World Series, and the World Series the same year. That's how you stay loose. The 0-2.
As funny as that kind of looked, a lot of times pitchers want their wrist to be that loose, and so you get that little whip action at the end. You don't qualify, Danny.
I'm trying. The 0-2. And he strikes out Piscotty. That's 3 today for Finnegan. Chased a ball, looked like. Chevy Fox Tracks.
Ball up there, you're going to get in trouble. A lot of swing and misses, pop it up at best.
So 2 outs, and here is Holliday. Fly to center, first time up. Popped up right side and out of play. So the Braves are in town tomorrow. No longer led by Freddie Gonzalez.
Brian Snitker.
Braves at 38-69. 21-30 on the road.
You remember what you told me after seeing them in Atlanta?
Oh yeah.
Still think that?
I'll let you know on Sunday. They've had a lot of changes too. Let's just say I didn't think it was a very good team when we first saw them. Can't watch your games on TV? You can now stream games live on your mobile device. Just go to your app store, download the free Fox Sports Go app. Log in, stream the Cardinals wherever you go. Hit sharply to third, backhanded by Suarez. And the Cardinals go in order. We move to the bottom of the fourth. 2-0 Reds. Producing. More on that. Let's check in with Jim.
Then was 3 for 5 in his first game back from the DL. 2 for 4 last night with a pair of doubles. He had vowed before the game yesterday to go 3 for 5 in every game for the rest of the season. He was joking, so of course I asked him if he felt he let people down by only going 2 for 4 last night. Dan, he told me, I only got 4 at bats. What do you want from me? Mike Matheny told me he isn't at all surprised that Moss has been able to get hot after missing 23 games with that ankle injury. He said Moss is a veteran guy with a very simple approach.
Jim, while we have you, is Phillips hits it out of play. Are we sure that Matt Carpenter returns tomorrow?
Mike Matheny said everything is a go for Matt Carpenter to be back with the Cardinals tomorrow. Again, I told you yesterday that Mike was saying, you know, he might be at second, he might be at third base. He worked out at both areas during his rehab, so we'll see about that, but he's expected to be back, Dan.
All right, thank you, Jimmy. Phillips in with the double. That took a tricky hop off the sidewall. Really a tough play for a right fielder. Does that ball go in the corner, or is it going to hit the sidewall and jet out back towards right field?
And you almost have to assume it's going to go down in the corner, and then you're at the mercy of the carom. But if you're going to come in too quickly and the ball doesn't hit that sidewall, then you maybe an inside the park home run.
So Phillips 2 for 2 brings in Scott Schebler. Doubled and scored back in the second inning.
Schebler originally with the Dodger organization and then was acquired by the Reds in the Todd Frazier deal. Broke with the ball club out of spring training, hit 188, got sent down and hit well at AAA. Got called up on Tuesday and he made his presence known in the bottom of the ninth, didn't he?
Sure did. That walk-off homer hits it sharply to Moss on a hop, steps on the bag, and Phillips advances to third. It brings in Suarez. He came up with runners at second and third and flied to shallow right, could not bring a runner home. So again, the Cardinals will draw the infield in. It's the risky run. Let's see if it pays off. Paid off for the Reds yesterday a couple of times.
Yeah, a couple times, and you kind of wondered why runners were coming home on contact with the ball in the infield. Twice to shortstop, and De Jesus nailed the runners coming to the plate.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Suarez. Ray Garcia does the little things. You don't see major league players do this a lot because it's taken for granted. Runner at third, and the throwback, something as simple as throwing back to the pitcher and backing it up, which he's supposed to do. But how many times do you ever see it?
Rarely. So you go back there in case it's a high throw.
Two balls and a strike. Ooh, misses on the corner.
Good pitch right there, but just a little bit wide.
I've seen Garcia, as you get a look at this last pitch, even when he's at third base with a runner at first, pitcher throws over, he'll back up the throw from the first baseman to the pitcher. You just don't see that.
Yeah, I mean, may never come into play, but if it ever does, it'll really stand out, and you'll see the reason why you do it.
I like watching him play. Good player. Good guy too.
Well, you know, the little things, you know, I mean.
3-2, ripped foul.
Kind of falls in the footsteps of guys like Descalzo. And,
sure.
You know, that really are part of making a championship caliber team. You know, they're not going to be the frontline players, but they're on that team for a reason and well respected by their teammates because they do those little things.
3-2 pitch again. Fly ball into deep right. Phillips will tag up from third. Catch made by Piscotty. Throw to the plate. Not in time. 3-0 Cincinnati. Suarez picks up the RBI. He's 49th.
Those situations there, Dan, because of the scoreless walk streak, you know, maybe instead of walking him and trying to get the double play to get out of it, with the switch hitting catcher coming up, you know, you make a pitch a little bit too good and he gets a sac fly.
Ground ball that's hit to Moss, but foul. Thinking the same thing back in the first inning too when he had that situation, or rather the second. 0-1 the count on Ramon Cabrera. Infield was drawn in with runners at second and third, back in the second. There's Johnny Peralta.
There's a double play.
Reds add to the lead. It's now 3-0 as we head to inning number 5. No hits allowed by Finnegan. 3-0 Cincinnati. This game started with what we thought was a base hit by Tommy Pham, ruled an error, and since then he has been perfect. He has struck out 3, not allowed a hit. It'll be Moss, Peralta, and Garcia. What inning do the Cardinals bust out?
How about 5 through 9?
Breaking ball in for a strike to Moss. He struck out swinging back in the 2nd inning. Another breaking ball just missed low. It's been an effective pitch here today for Finnegan. Here's a 1-1 inside.
They say his fastball is hittable. We haven't hit it yet. Talked about how he's incorporated more change-ups and
there's that fastball up. Two and two the count.
Fastball up above the strike zone is a pitcher's pitch. The fastball up in the strike zone will get you in trouble.
With 2 strikes, a shift on the infield. Trying to go upstairs again. 3-2. See the shortstop, De Jesus Jr., moving behind the second base bag. Right fielder very deep, straight away in the outfield. A 3-2 pitch to Brandon Moss from Brandon Finnegan. Popped up into shallow center. There's Billy Hamilton. 1 away here in inning number 5. Looking forward to this. The 2016 Cardinals Hall of Fame class presented by Edward Jones, Sam Braden, Terry Moore, Joe Torre, Chris Carpenter, all coming up. It's August 27th at Ballpark Village, and find out more at cardinals.com/HOF. So the Reds, one of these teams that's trying to rebuild. Got rid of some of the major league assets that they've had. There's the first base hit for the Cardinals off the bat of Johnny Peralta.
Got the no-hitter broke up. Let's break up the shutout now. Hard hit ball, and Cozart. Cardinals catch a break with Cozart not playing in the series. For Tuesday's game, during batting practice, he took a ball off his index finger, and he's been out ever since.
In on the hands of Garcia, and out of play. Look at some of the trades that were made. Cubs getting Chapman, the price that they paid. The Yankees, what they've gotten back with their deals with Miller and Beltran. I mean, there are some big names and coming at a steep price in terms of talent. You think about 10 years ago, a lot of times it was teams just looking to shed payroll.
Right.
And those days are over. It's all about talent. 1 ball, 1 strike. I mean, the Cardinals had that great run, and it started with the trade of Mark McGwire, and the A's not sure whether or not they could sign him, realized they couldn't, goes to St. Louis, signs an extension. Jim Edmonds, Scott Rowland, 2 huge acquisitions for the Cardinals, and 2 guys that were free agents to be.
Been very effective, and really talking about the last decade plus, the only guy that got away was Hayward in that scenario.
Now the farm system for the Cardinals, with what they did in the international signing period, very good draft. Delvin Perez, the shortstop, first-round pick, is off to a great start and surprising some folks with what he's done offensively. Known for his glove, but he's hitting. Cardinals have really stocked up, and then you think about what they have on the cusp of being major league pitchers, whether it be Luke Weaver or Alex Reyes. It's a good farm system again. 1-1 pitch. That's how the Cardinals have done it. And both could be a part of the equation in September. And I know you look at the ERA of Alex Reyes, 5.61, but folks, he throws 100. So if he starts out in the bullpen, shorter stints at this level could be very good for him. It would translate to having some success. And Luke Weaver has burst onto the scene after some non-throwing injuries that he dealt with, and he's had a great year.
He's a right-hander, and he broke his left wrist in a collision during spring training. Got a late start, just recently promoted from AA to AAA. And I know the veteran pitching staff of the Cardinals, when they saw Luke Weaver in spring training, were very impressed with him as he tried to just soak up as much of the atmosphere as possible and learn quite a bit.
Here's a 2-2 pitch and a strikeout of Garcia, caught looking for the second time. Now Weaver with his fastball is no slouch. I mean, we talk so much about Alex Reyes. Luke Weaver's throwing mid-90s. He's got a very good fastball.
See the Garcia being fooled twice. Looking at strike 3. And it's just, you know, I mean, velocity is great, but if you don't have any movement
or command,
you know, and everybody's got those guys coming out of the bullpen now, or prospects that are throwing over 100 miles an hour.
And it's not just the fastball too with Alex Reyes. Very good breaking ball, secondary pitches. But his stuff, you know, very well could translate to being a short inning reliever here in September. So 2 outs and a 1-0 pitch now to Rosario. Hits it to first, and Votto is there. He's holding the runner on and positioned perfectly. Finnegan is through 5. He's allowed just 1 hit. 3-0 Reds. And older can take home a bobblehead unlike any other distributed at Busch Stadium 3. Throwback Cardinal Bird bobblehead presented by AT&T. Tickets available at cardinals.com/promotions. This Saturday it's Carlos Martinez. Sunday Adam Wainwright. Tomorrow night Jaime Garcia. A 3-0 lead for the Cincinnati Reds.
Get some runs for Mike Leake.
It'll be Finnegan, Hamilton, DeJesus.
Leake is averaging 6 innings per start, and he's getting 5 runs in support per start.
Leake only had 57 pitches. 2 balls and no strikes. Ground ball, backhanded nicely by Moss, and a strike to Leake for the out. Not an easy play at all.
No, made it look easy, but it wasn't. There's another guy that moving around the diamond, first base, corner outfield, and really playing good solid fundamentals. Mike Leake is due up first, but I would have to say if he has an inning like this, you got to let him keep on going. One, he's a pretty good hitter himself, but you can't keep on going to the bullpen.
Had 8 innings the last 2 games combined from your bullpen. A strike to Billy Hamilton. Hamilton is 1 for 2. Single back in the first, grounded into a fielder's choice in the second. Fastball misses low. Mike Leake is a little of this, little of that. It's up and down, changes speeds. Not overpowering stuff, puts the ball in play. Then he had those back-to-back starts with 10 or more strikeouts and no walks. High of 92, low of 76. And the 1-2 pitch. Lined into center field.
After those 10 strikeout appearances, and he had the last 2 starts where he allowed 6 earned runs in each of them.
So Hamilton is aboard. And here's DeJesus, who is 0 for 2. Grounded to short, flied out to right. Hamilton with 37 steals this year. That's 3 back of the league leader, Jonathan Villar of Milwaukee. Starling Marte also with 37. Jankowski 23 of San Diego. Good jump. Rosario throw right on the bag, but Hamilton is safe.
Well, he had a great jump, as you said. He got that off a leak, and Rosario made it a lot closer than we thought with a very strong throwing arm.
I don't think he had any chance.
No, I agree with you. Rosario, 11 years in the minor leagues, and Hamilton got that great starting. See, look at that jump there. Strong throw to make it even that close.
A little dirt in the eye of Greg Garcia. Runner in scoring position, and the 0-1 to DeJesus. Ground ball that's hit to short. Peralta looks back. Hamilton. There's 2 down. Brings in Votto. Was called out on strikes and grounded out to second. So that Hamilton tried to steal third base last night. He's now at 38, 1 ahead of Marte, 2 back of Villar.
Stealing third is a lot easier than stealing second. It's a shorter throw for the catcher, but you can get that much more of a jump out at second base. And here you are again, Danny, with this situation where Leake has not walked anybody in 34 plus innings. And you could pitch around Votto here, but because of that streak, you're going to go right after him. And he's been hitting what, 500 in his 17-game inning streak.
That's it out of play. One ball, 1 strike. Now realize you do have protection behind him, as we talked about earlier with Duvall, but would you rather deal with Duvall, who's 0 for 2 today with 2 runners on, or Votto, who is the hottest hitter on the planet?
Yeah.
1-1 to count. That's about as far set up outside I've seen Rosario in any start that he's been behind the plate with any hitter. Over accentuate the fact that, you know, they don't want to go anywhere near the plate for Votto to swing.
How about Yachty? Sometimes he'll set up in the other batter's box.
They want this way away. 2-1 pitch. Look at where he's set up.
There's, you know, what we're talking about. They're trying to say, hey, we don't mind if you're walking. It's 2 outs, put runners at first and second. And there you see how productive he's been in the second half. He's hit in every game except for this one. 0 for 2 at this point.
Just don't see Votto extend his zone.
No, and
rarely, if ever, chasing a pitch outside the strike zone.
Right. So he knows what they're trying to do, and Yachty had his 16 games hitting streak stopped last night. And kind of you get a little frustrated where there's a walk and also a hit batter, so you feel like you got cheated.
3-2 the count with 2 outs, runner at second base.
Sometimes too, Dan, when you're really trying to pitch around a guy and then you get the count 3-2, you say, oh, I'm gonna trick him. He thinks I'm gonna go walk and everything, and you go after him. Sometimes you get the strikeout, other times you really get burned.
3-2, line to second, and the catch by Garcia. Hamilton was running on the pitch. All for naught as Lee gets Votto. He is hitless today. 3-0 Cincinnati. Coverage of Major League Baseball presented by T-Mobile. Injury notes, and these are big injuries for a couple of teams that the Cardinals will be involved with in the wild card. Clayton Kershaw, we may not see him the remainder of this season. Placed on the 60-day DL, so does not return at least until August 27th. And then Yoenis Cespedes. So Kershaw, it's the back. Cespedes dealing with a quad. And those two are part of our T-Mobile greater coverage of Major League Baseball. There's Mike Leake.
How fortunate for the Mets to pick up Jay Bruce. Of course, they wanted Cespedes and Bruce to be in the middle of that order, but
it may not just be for this year when you think about the importance of adding Jay Bruce, but Cespedes has an out in his contract too.
Sure.
So, you know, he could be a free agent and leave.
Opt-out clauses are something new that really only benefit the player. If the player's having a bad year, he's not going to exercise the opt-out. He's having a great year, and thinks he can get more money. The club to sign him a multi-year contract could lose him in the middle of it.
The strike at the knees. 3-1 the count. Finnegan has not walked a man. He's allowed just 1 base hit. He has struck out 4. Lee grounded out to third, and now he sends a fly ball into center. Hamilton back with room, and he makes the catch. One out here in inning number 6. The 5th of 6 Academy Sports and Outdoor Autograph Nights is tomorrow. 2 current Cardinal players will sign autographs for fans 15 and under. That's in the Ford Plaza. Get there at 5:45. 2 former Cardinals will sign for fans of all ages from 6:15 to 7. For details, visit cardinals.com/promotions. Here's Tommy Pham. Reached on an air back in the first, flied out to center. And this explosive Cardinals offense has been held in check. Pham, line drive, left field, right at Duvall. Got away with a hanger and a line out off the bat of Pham, and there's 2 down.
Can't argue with what Tommy did. Hit the ball hard. It just happened to be right at Duvall, the left fielder.
So here we are, 3rd time through, 292 the average against him.
I was going to say, we'll see if he starts getting the ball up a little bit. Jerko would be the kind of guy that maybe could jerk one out of here.
Two outs, nobody on. 1 ball, no strikes. Fly to center, lined out to right. 0 for 2 today. Outfield is deep. They're straight away. Line drive to left, sinking liner, and the catch made by Duvall. Cardinals hit into some tough luck. They may want to take a look at this to see if it was trapped. I think Finnegan believes that that ball was trapped. He's one of the only players that decided not to run off the field, but that is a catch. Clearly a catch. Nice play by Duvall in left. And Finnegan, 1 hit allowed through 6 innings. 3-0 Cincinnati. Leak back to work, bottom of the 6th. Duvall takes a ball low. Very good catch by Duvall. Liner off the bat of Jed Jerko.
Say he's a good outfielder. Got a strong throwing arm.
Told me he grew up a Cardinals fan. Made 1 trip to a major league park prior to getting into professional baseball, and that was to Busch Stadium. 2-0 the count. Cincinnati with a 3-0 lead. 2 in the second, 1 in the fourth. BJC Healthcare difference maker this season against the Central. They picked it up. Last 20, 15-5 against the Central.
It's one thing the Cardinals have always dominated in the division.
And usually at home.
And Cardinals and Cubs, the only teams in the Central Division this year that are over 500.
Iglesias getting loose in the Reds bullpen. 2-2 pitch to Duvall. Long look by Leake, and here it comes. Went with the changeup in the dirt. Count runs full. See what he wants on this pitch. Previous pitch, it was Rosario who was bullish on that changeup. I don't think Leake wanted to throw it.
Didn't want the sinker, didn't want the curveball.
Apparently didn't want anything.
Didn't want anything. I think they were do it all over again. Cutter.
Ooh, just missed on the inside corner. And a leadoff walk.
It's his first walk in 35 innings. In this ballpark, you don't want to get any free passes because the ball can find the seats very easily.
First walk for either side. Here's Phillips, 2 runs scored, 2 for 2 on the day. A single back in the second. Double in the fourth inning.
Sit safely in 19 of his last 21 games. Over 320.
A short lead at first. And a ball.
Hasn't homered in his last 71 games and 281 plate appearances. But he got hot, didn't he? May 4th through the 7th, he hit 5 of his 6 home runs during that 4-game streak.
Big gap in left center. Leake would love the ground ball and a double play. 1-0 pitch. Lined into left. That ball drops. It's past Holiday and all the way to the wall. This will make it 4-0 Cincinnati. Phillips 3 for 3 on the afternoon.
RBI makes it 4-0. Mentioned. He scored a couple runs. He's 3 for 3 with his second double, and right where the Cardinals weren't. Said their center fielder was playing over into right center a little bit, and hits this to left center and trades places. I'll get the Cardinal bullpen moving.
Brings in Schebler, who is 1 for 2 with a double. The shift is on. Jerko well off the line at third base. Outfield very deep. Phillips is running. No chance. Could see that coming a mile away.
You really could. I was thinking about that. Could Jerko get back to third base with his good running start? You get a big lead out there, secondary lead takes off. And remember, Rosario's going to have to hit a running target. And I think the smart thing was no throw.
Infield drawn in. Nobody out. 4-0 Reds. Schebler is hit by the pitch. First 3 have reached now here in the bottom of the 6th. Runners at first and third. Eugenio Suarez.
Right around the knee area, and he's hobbling. No meat on the outside part of the knee.
So they tend to Schebler. And Leake is in a world of trouble now.
Only 80 pitches thrown, and shouldn't be hitting a wall like this.
Tyler Holt, an outfielder on their bench, could bring him in. Renda's an infielder. Cozart's been dealing with the thumb, and Tucker Barnhart is their catcher. So 4-man bench, just like the Cardinals. Looks like you just said I'm all right.
Yeah, I'm going to stay in that game. And now White Turner looked like he was coming back with Brian Price, but then he took a U-turn.
Well, last time against the Reds, back on June 7th, 10 hits and 6 in the third. 6 runs, all were earned with 5 strikeouts. Slowly but surely, it's turning into a similar start here for Mike Leake. Schebler still running, trying to stay loose. He says he's all right. Seth Maness getting loose in the Cardinals pen. Out to left field. That's trouble. All the way to the wall. A run will score to make it 5-0. That's Phillips. As Schebler limps over to third. Second double in the inning. This time off the bat of Suarez, and a 5-0 lead for the Reds.
Second RBI for Suarez. See it just right there, and Mike Matheny will have to go to his bullpen again. So 3 consecutive starts. Starters are only going 5 innings. 5 innings plus, but no outs here in the 6th.
Turn to our Chevy Colt to the pen. Seth Maness coming on. Runners at second and third. Nobody out, and a 5-0 Cincinnati lead. pitching much better as of late. 3.71 ERA, and he comes into a tough spot. Runners at second and third, infield drawn in, and nobody out.
Well rested, hadn't pitched since Miami, 29th of last month. But you're right, he's pitching much better.
And the first pitch is taken for a ball. Cabrera got things started with an RBI base hit that scored 2 back in the second inning. It's also grounded out to short. Lined into right field. 1 run will score. They'll hold up the runner at third. That makes it 6-0.
Second RBI for Cabrera today. Excuse me, third RBI. He had 2 back in the second inning, and then this one here.
Pinch hitter Finnegan will be out of this game, so Tyler Holt will be the pinch hitter. Got the start last night in center. 6-0 Reds. Runners at the corners here in the bottom of the 6th. Still nobody out.
A little surprised at that. Pinch hitting for Finnegan.
Especially with the bullpen woes that the Reds have had.
Better the second half, but
Finnegan was cruising in this game.
Very disappointing start for Mike Leake. Finnegan only allowed 2 base runners, 1 on an error and 1 on a base hit, a single.
And a foul ball. Infield is in again. The middle infielder is back a step or 2 just in case they can turn that double play potentially. Moss holding it first. Big gap in left center. Two is in on his hands. Kia in the driver's seat. Chicago, Washington, San Francisco just ahead of the Cardinals for the fewest innings. But you wouldn't know that watching this series. Starters, as Al mentioned, all 3 giving them 5 innings. Here is the 0-2. Ground ball that's hit to second. Garcia will get the double play and a run will score. That makes it 7-0 Reds. No RBI on the play. 7-0.
And I think Finnegan only threw 79 pitches.
Close the book on Mike Leake. 7 runs in his 5+. And it brings in Billy Hamilton. 2 hits today for the leadoff man of the Reds. Also picked up a stolen base back in inning number 5. Well, you're hoping to get at least 2 innings out of Manus, maybe even 3 if it's quick. Raisel Iglesias will be the new pitcher for Cincinnati. He's getting loose in their pen. Here's a 1-1. 2 balls and 1 strike. Manus, one of the fastest workers in the game, against one of the fastest players in Billy Hamilton. Two and 2. Happy 15th birthday to Justin Peacock. Never misses a game. Justin Peacock, happy birthday, number 15. 2-2 pitch.
Can't walk Billy Hamilton.
No, sir. And the 3-2. Slapped foul. Such an exciting player, but he's got to get on base.
Yeah, and if he hits his way on, so be it. He's got 2 hits on the day, but to give him a free pass and then watch him run around the bases, no.
3-2. High fly ball into right center field. There's Tommy Pham. Reds pick up 4 here in the 6th inning, and they lead it 7-0 as we head to the 7th. This is our Gateway Honda home run inning. Cardinals hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri.
So Iglesias will go in the 6th spot in the order. That's Schebler's spot, and Holt will remain in the game.
Remember, Iglesias a year ago made a start against the Cardinals, and you watch some of his mannerisms, it'll remind you of El Duque, Orlando Hernandez.
He hasn't allowed a run in his last 10 appearances, covering 20 2/3 innings. Career highs in both appearances and innings pitched.
Holt stays in the game in right, so Schebler is out. And here is Iglesias. First pitch, a strike. Finnegan, what a job. 6 innings, 1 hit allowed. Piscotty, Holiday, and Moss for St. Louis. That's what we're talking about there. That delivery in which he'll drop down, especially against the right-handers.
Watch that motion, kind of tucks. Come forward, then that slider.
Same pitch, fouled away. Cardinals have won 18 of their last 22 series with the Reds. 9-4 in their last 13 here in Cincinnati. Winning this series looks to be in jeopardy as Piscotty strikes out. The Academy Sports and Outdoor Leaderboard, Cincinnati Reds. These are team highs since 1920. First half was, I mean, it was just brutal. Second half has been better.
I remember one point they had allowed bullpen allowed at least 1 run in 24 consecutive games.
Holiday chops it to short. Nice hands by Ivan De Jesus Jr. We saw that last night on a backhanded play. This one charging on the short hop. 2 down.
Good solid defense will make your pitching staff look a lot better. Come in, be aggressive, trying to get the true hop.
And with 2 outs, it brings in Moss.
Lay back on a ball like that and it'll eat you up.
There's the shift for Moss. First pitch to him. Sometimes when you see a right-hander drop down against a lefty, that slider just becomes a spinner.
Right.
Moss could park one in the seats. Iglesias, the Hyundai pitch arsenal. Fastball, slider, and change. Peralta on deck, and he has the only hit for the Cardinals. It's been that kind of day.
Still trying to figure out why Finnegan came out after 79 pitches. Not that hot today. It is humid.
1-2 the count on Moss. And Finnegan had not walked a man. They'd given up just 1 base hit. Single to left by Peralta back in inning number 5.
We had 2 base runners. Pham opened up the game with reaching base on an error, and then the Peralta base hit.
Just missed.
Iglesias is from Cuba, so another reason why he looks like El Duque.
Dean Kiekefer is throwing in the Cardinals pen. The 2-2. Moss, a sinking liner, and Duvall won't catch that one. Second Cardinal hit today.
Iglesias was another one like Leake that went straight from amateur leagues to the big leagues.
There's Johnny Peralta, 1 for 2. He's flied to center and a single to left. Get the feeling this club right now is just kind of on fumes at the end of this road trip. When you don't hit, it looks sluggish. Starting pitching only gives you 5 innings.
Yeah, it's just, and you can't go to that bullpen for 4 innings night after night. You don't have an off day till the 15th of August.
Upcoming schedule features Atlanta this weekend, and we'll see the Reds again early next week in St. Louis. Then back out on the road. 4 with Chicago, 2 with Houston, 3 with the Phillies. Budweiser, what's on tap? Back home at Busch Stadium. Jaime Garcia. Our coverage begins with the award-winning pregame show at 6:30. Out of play. Three-city road trip for Cincinnati begins tomorrow in Pittsburgh. Then in St. Louis. They'll head to Milwaukee. Two-one. Jammed him. Ground ball slowly hit to short, and it's time to stretch. Day baseball on Fox Sports Midwest, and it's all Cincinnati here in Game 3. .com and Bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment. Game day, live game video highlights, StatCast news, and more. Download the MLB.com and Bat app. #1 app for live baseball on your phone or tablet. Chevy called to the pen. It's Dean Kekeffer.
Dean's been bouncing around back and forth to Memphis, even sometimes when he doesn't show up there, but got a reprieve. And the 7-0 game. His last appearance was in Miami on the 29th. Wong is at second. Garcia moves from second to short. Holiday is out as Hazelbaker is out in left.
Ivan De Jesus. First pitch taken for a ball. Undoubtedly, you would see Dean Kekeffer in September. And who knows, may see him before then too. Good stick. Cardinals do have to make a move tomorrow.
Carrying an extra reliever right now, so
one ball, one strike. Plaza Tires Fox Tracks. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
parents have made the jaunt from Indiana here. It's about a 3-hour drive, he told me.
He'll get to face his former teammate at Louisville. Adam Duvall is due up third. Those two close friends. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Lined into right, and it's a base hit. Piscotty was playing near the line, so holds him to a single. First hit for the Red shortstop. He's 1 for 4.
Right. Piscotty had him played perfectly near the right field line. Otto looking to extend his hitting streak to 18 games. He's 0 for 3 today.
2014 hit .333 against the Cardinals. Last year .345. And he came into play today at .367 against St. Louis. First pitch, a strike. On 1 pitch.
Otto is 0 for 2 off the key capper.
Here's a 1-1 pitch.
Positive I see in this game right now is that Seegers, Duke, those guys will get a little rest, but have to be very disappointed you can't win this series.
Well, as we talked about earlier, during an entire at bat for Votto, even on the first pitch, you will see him choke up, and so that's been part of the key to his success. And it starts with the first pitch of an at bat, not just with 2 strikes. Three and 2 the count. See Hunter Pence do this. Barry Bonds used to do that. Not many, though, choke up just to put the ball in play.
How about good ones do it?
Yep. 3-2, and he struck him out. Second time that Votto has struck out, and he's frustrated.
Pitch by Kepper, keep the ball away from him. Framed well by Rosario.
You know, the Cardinals really don't have that traditional lefty specialist. But this guy has impressed me with what he's done against left-handers because of the arm angle. You know, he'll give a left-handed hitter a couple of different looks. He'll drop down. He'll be 3/4.
He's on the caravan with us this winter, and he's paid his dues and
then
patiently kind of waited for it, but he's leaving positive impressions.
Could be a double play ball. Out at second, out at first. So he gets his former teammate at Louisville, Duvall, in the double play. We head to the 8th. The Cincinnati Reds with a lead of 7-0. one point, you looked at them with their starting pitching. You thought that's the best team in baseball. And it has been a tough go here in the second half of the Giants. 61-46 their record, a lead of 2 games in front of LA. Iglesias, second inning of work. And Greg Garcia with a fly ball into center. And that's how we start playing here in the top of the 8th. Iglesias in relief of Finnegan, who went 6 innings and allowed just 1 base hit. Struck out 4. No walks. Here's Alberto Rosario. Colorado, another win last night. They are now within 7 of the Giants and in the conversation for the wild card.
Sure.
Baltimore leads in the American League East by a game in front of Toronto, 3 in front of Boston. Cleveland 2 in front of Detroit. Detroit a hot team right now. Texas in the West, a 5.5 game lead over Houston. Washington 7 in front of Miami in the National League East. New York 8.5 games back. Rosario base hit into right. We talked about it. The Cardinals 9 back in the Central. And the Giants 2 in front of Los Angeles. So Colorado now just 3 out in the wild card. What'd you make of the moves of Pittsburgh?
I find them very interesting. You know, they're hard to say that you're supporting your ball club by trading your number 2 starter and a starter that gives the Cardinals fits, and also your closer. I guess they feel that Watson, Phillies can cover the closing role.
Pulled foul off the bat of Wong. First plate appearance for him.
Lanson was going to be a free agent. It's better to find out what you can get for him rather than trusting your scouting director and coming up with a big compensation pick or something.
Did get Rivero, a hard throwing a lefty for Melanson, part of that deal with Washington. Out there, and the line out is out number 2. Jerome Williams getting loose. Back to the top of the lineup, and Tommy Pham. 7-0 Reds here in the top of the 8th. Pham just past Votto and into right field. Rosario on his way to third. And it brings in Jerko. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Jerko 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts against Iglesias. If the Cardinals get shut out in this ball game, it would be 6-6 in shutouts. If they score less than 3 runs, their record would be 1-28 when scoring 3 runs or less, or fewer than 3 runs.
Good slider.
Cardinals are a good scoring club, but there are too many times where they just get shut down.
Jerko trying to get the Cardinals on the board. 3 flyouts today, 0 for 3.
He robbed his last time up with a good sinking line drive out to left.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. Check swing. Did not go. Two and two with 2 outs and 2 on. The next two, the Cardinals' third baseman. Popped up. Votto will give it a look. That'll find the seats. Outfield is straight away. Lots of room on the right side of the infield. Votto holding. Phillips near the bag. 2-2 pitch. In the air out to left. Pretty well hit. And on the track, the catch is made by Duvall. So 2 scoreless innings by Iglesias. 7-0 Cincinnati. We head to the bottom of the 8th. St. Louis Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Bud Light. Raise 1-2 right now. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. Jerome Williams is the new pitcher in for St. Louis. You'll notice he uses a pink glove. And at different points and times in his career, depending on the cause, he would wear a different color glove. Purple glove for pancreatic cancer, blue one for prostate cancer, gold one for childhood cancers. He had a green one at one point for liver cancer, but this is the one that's very close to his heart. His mom went through breast cancer, and her name is etched inside the glove, so every time he feels for the baseball, he can feel that in there as well. And a strike, and we're underway here in the bottom of the 8th.
Second appearance for the Cardinals. First one was Saturday when he pitched 4 innings in relief.
That's pulled foul. Phillips trying to make it a 4-hit afternoon.
3 runs in that game, but they were all unearned after an error was committed.
$19.99, drafted by the Giants.
Out of Hawaii.
And the 0-2 pitch. Ground ball that's hit to second. One away. Fox Sports Midwest proud to partner with the St. Louis Area Food Bank. That food bank provides millions of meals annually through a network of nearly 500 food pantries, soup kitchens, shelters in the region. Food Bank can provide 4 meals with every dollar donated. All you have to do is text FEED STL to 20222 20222. Make a $10 donation. Help feed local families. Head to stlfoodbank.org/donate for more information. Great cause. This is Renda. Tony Renda, outfielder on the bench for Cincinnati today. Well, the pitching of the Reds has been the story here today. They've allowed just 4 hits, 6 innings out of Finnegan, 1 hit allowed. Looked very sharp. Iglesias, 2 scoreless innings. 7-0 Reds. Here's the 2-0 pitch to Renda. Check swing, and he did go.
Have a long reliever, spot starter in Jerome Williams.
The 2-1 pitch. Ground ball in the hole. Garcia, tough play. Nicely done, Greg Garcia.
Very nice play there by Greg. A year ago at this time, everybody questioned whether he could play shortstop defensively, and he has answered that very well. You see him make nice plays at second, short, third.
A ball to Suarez. And the 1-0 from Williams.
I could just throw strikes, doesn't he?
Gets it and goes pretty free and easy.
Nothing real fancy about him, but keeps the ball down in the strike zone, trying to get the strike or ground balls.
Two strikes on Suarez. The 2-2 pitch in the dirt. Pulled foul.
RBIs today by the 7th and 8th place hitters in the Reds lineup. That can't happen.
3-2 lifted in the air out to center. Pham on the move, won't get there. It's off the wall, and a 2-out double.
Day for Suarez. Couple RBIs, a pair of doubles.
Budweiser player of the game is Brandon Finnegan. 6 innings, gave up a hit, 4 strikeouts. That's your Budweiser player of the game, the starter today for the Cincinnati Reds. Tough day for Mike Leake, and it brings in Cabrera.
2 for 3 for Cabrera with 3 RBIs. Switch hitting catch up.
That kind of day. Pitch taken low. Ramon Cabrera, 2 for 3. Runner at second base with 2 outs. 7-0 the lead for Cincinnati.
Cardinals been out hit 11-4.
Check swing, and he did go. 2-1. See Cabrera just checking to see if that was a cold strike or the swing. Two and 1 the count. Two. Got him. Strikeout for Williams and a scoreless bottom of the 8th. It's 7-0 Cincinnati. 9th inning rolls in when we come back. Cincinnati. Jumbo Diaz is into the ball game for the Reds. Reds have out-hit the Cardinals 11-4 in this game.
Jumbo Diaz. It's been 11 years before he got to the big leagues. It was back in 2014. Last year, all season long with him. He's a big man. Got a good arm. He's listed 6'4", 278. 32 years of age, from the Dominican Republic. Originally signed by the Dodgers, then a minor league contract with the Rangers, minor league contract with the Orioles, minor league contract with the Pirates, minor league contract with the Reds before finally getting to the big leagues in 2014.
Hard thrower. We are in the top of the 9th, and here is Piscotty. First pitch fouled back.
4 hits on the day for the Cardinals. 4 singles.
Pair of strikeouts for Stephen Piscotty. Also bounce back to the starter Brandon Finnegan. First time up. There's the breaking ball. Evens it up at 1 ball, 1 strike.
First time we've really seen Piscotty struggle, and it's been for the entire road trip. He's just 3 for 27. Had a couple days off to get a mental break. I'm sure we're going to see him come out and break loose and get hot.
Hazelbaker on deck, and a 2-1 pitch to Stephen Piscotty. 3-1. Three and 2. Three-two pitch to Stephen Piscotty. On its way. It's sharply to short. Abon De Jesus Jr. showing off the arm. Hitless afternoon for Stephen Piscotty. He's 0 for 4.
Now, a pitching change.
Right now, if Tony La Russa is watching, he is nodding in approval. He likes this.
He did it right here in this ballpark, remember?
Oh, yeah.
5-run lead, 2 outs, nobody on base.
Oh, do I remember. Chevy called to the pen. The ball game, 7-0 the lead with nobody on and 1 out in the 9th. So he pitched on Sunday, but hasn't pitched an awful lot. So they're trying to get him some work, and Brian Price is pulling out all the stops.
He is their closer right now. He's 13 of 18 in save opportunities. Didn't record a save in his first 143 appearances in his professional career, but beginning on May the 6th, he has got a team high 13 saves.
So it is Hazelbaker against Cingrani. First pitch taken for a ball. I remember the final day of the season. May have been 2008. And Troy Percival started for the Cardinals.
Yes. Yeah, I do.
In Pittsburgh.
Remember that too.
There's something like 6 or 7 changes in that game.
Baker 0 for 1 off of Cingrani.
One ball and 2 strikes.
First tried him as a starter and before moving him to the bullpen. In 18 starts back in 2013. Splitting time with AAA and the big leagues.
Strikeout of Hazelbaker. Really, Cingrani is a one-pitch pitcher. I mean, it's fastball, 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 and that's one of the reasons why he moved to the bullpen. Secondary pitches couldn't get him through a lineup.
Right, and you could do that, especially late inning. You're only going to face a guy 1 time a day.
So the final hope for the Cardinals is Brandon Moss. That's kind of what we're talking about with Alex Reyes. And you bring him up, he airs it out for an inning. He could be a huge weapon for the Cardinals down the stretch.
Can he throw enough strikes, to where he can be efficient enough to come back day after day? I still really do like the idea, even if you're going to eventually move a guy into the rotation, but bring him up as a reliever. In the days you don't have your best stuff, you can get him out of there before he gets beat up. But if a guy is struggling to try and go 5 innings, a pitch count under 100 at the minor league level, he's going to come up here and he's going to throw 3 or 4 innings.
2-1 is a fly ball lifted out to deep left. This should end it. The catch is made, and Cincinnati takes 2 of 3 against the Cardinals. The final of 7-0.
Very disappointing. Cardinals really needed this one to win the series and give themselves a legitimate shot at the wild card. They missed an opportunity against a rebuilding club.
Great starting pitching, Brandon Finnegan, and the Reds bullpen outstanding as well with 3 scoreless innings. 7-0 our final. Scott Warman, Rick Ankiel standing by with a post-game show. Much more to come. 7-0 Reds defeat St. Louis.